All my life I had followed my brother's words, and yet in secret I spent 3 years dating his worst enemy. Bruno was known in our circle for being rebellious and defiant, but with me he was always attentive, even though he never wanted to make our relationship public. When his friends asked why, he would laugh with sarcasm and say, "Because I don't love Selena. Dating her is only to take revenge on her brother and defend my sister. That's why, on my birthday, I'll stand her up in the worst way, so both siblings become the laughingstock." And so, on the day of his famous birthday party, I never appeared. Instead, I left for Hong Kong to fulfill a marriage of convenience. On my wedding day, Bruno arrived running, covered in dust, desperately trying to stop the ceremony, but they left him outside. He begged the guards to let him in, claiming he was the bride's groom. Yet when they checked his phone, there was not a single photo proving we had ever been together. Chapter 1. All this just to avenge your sister? Bruno exhaled a cloud of smoke, his eyes cold and dark. She felt humiliated when he rejected her. She went abroad broken, and she didn't even accept my confession. Isn't that enough pain? His friend looked at him horrified. Bruno, are you insane? How can you be in love with your own sister? There's no blood relation, he muttered through the thick smoke, his face blurring in the haze. Why couldn't I love her? But what fault does Selena have? It was her brother who rejected your sister. What does she have to do with it? You can't take it out on her. Besides, you were the one who pursued her. For 2 years you searched for her, and then you were together for 3. You cared for her, adored her. I thought on your birthday you were going to propose marriage. Bruno fell silent. When his cigarette was almost finished, he crushed it and sneered. If I didn't act that way, how could I make her fall in love with me? Only by pushing her into the abyss at her happiest moment could she feel the same pain my sister felt. My lips trembled as I pressed them tightly, my eyes filling with tears. The friend frowned, his voice carrying a trace of sadness. Are you really going to do it? Won't you regret it? Bruno raised his glass, his voice icy. Never. I lower my gaze. A petal fell, and with it, a tear struck the ground. No wonder he never wanted to make our relationship public, because someone else already lived in his heart. What I believed to be reciprocal love was nothing but a carefully laid trap. In that moment, I didn't even have the strength to confront him. Accusations, screams, tears. Why give him the pleasure of seeing my pain? I turned away and left, leaving behind the gift I had prepared for him. Chapter 2. When I returned home, I found my brother, who had just come back from a business trip to Hong Kong. Why are your eyes so red? He asked, worried. I lowered my head and wiped them. The wind outside is strong. Sitting on the living room sofa, he said, I heard you're going to Hong Kong to do your doctorate. Have you thought again about Ethan, the one from Hong Kong? He's a good man, personally chosen by your older brother. You can trust him. He had spoken to me before about that marriage of convenience, but I never accepted it because of Bruno. I believed in free love. But now I no longer dared to think that way. Perhaps it was better to be with someone familiar, someone reliable. Even if there wasn't love, at least there would be no lies or harm. I would have time to continue my studies. My parents would be at peace. My mind was made up. Brother, I accept the engagement. Really? His tone was filled with excitement. Then I'll speak to Ethan's family as soon as possible. Back in my room, I packed away all the gifts Bruno had given me over the years. Just as I was about to leave them in the storage room, my brother knocked on the door. Next Friday, we're leaving for Hong Kong. That day happened to be Bruno's birthday. Chapter 3. The next day, I stayed home organizing the documents I had to take. In the afternoon, Bruno called me to invite me out. I could hear noise and loudspeaker announcements in the background. He was surely at the airport. When I refused his invitation, he let out a sigh of relief. Then stay home and eat well, all right? Don't go on diets. So attentive. Such a good actor. Later, my brother's friend texted me to pick him up. My car was in the shop, so I took my brother's. Following the room number, I arrived and softly opened the door, only to see Bruno holding a girl in his arms, playing a game of tearing paper with their mouths. His hands were on her waist, a brazen smile on his face, while the crowd shouted, "Kiss! Kiss!" Bruno pulled the paper away, frowning slightly, but the girl leaned closer, their lips almost touching. He turned his head slightly, and our eyes met. Everyone turned toward me. In his eyes, I saw a flash of panic. I lowered my gaze. Sorry, I entered the wrong room. I closed the door. I had only walked a few steps when Bruno caught up to me and dragged me into a private lounge. In the dim light, he cornered me, holding my chin. Are you jealous? I shook my head. It's not what you think. She's my sister. It was just a game. Come on, give your husband a kiss, all right? He laughed and leaned in, but I dodged his lips before he could touch me. I pulled away from his arms. My brother is waiting for me. The door opened. The girl covered her mouth in surprise. Bruno, you too? It was his non-biological sister, Emma. Bruno looked at me for a few seconds, then turned to her. I'm drunk. I went into the wrong room. I don't really know this lady. Emma smiled and clung to his arm. Everyone's waiting for you. I said nothing. I didn't look at him. I just walked toward the exit. As I passed by, he tried to take my hand, but halfway he stopped and clenched his fist. Chapter 4. In the car, my drunken brother became endlessly talkative. He started recounting everything from our childhood to when I left for Hong Kong 5 years ago for graduate school.
I'm sorry, Selena. I shouldn't have opposed you back then.
If I hadn't, you wouldn't have gone so far away or cut contact with everyone. At that time, he had insisted I study business to help him with the family company, but I wasn't interested. I wanted to continue with my research. I was alone in a strange city, in an unfamiliar world, and then Bruno appeared. He understood me, supported me, and truly saw me. I wanted to take that step toward him, but I remembered that he and my brother had become enemies over a project, so I gently rejected him. Yet, he never gave up. He pursued me for 2 years. Even when I treated him with coldness, he always smiled and said, Selena, you deserve a love like this. And don't feel bad for me. The one who falls in love first is the one who gives more, and I do it willingly. Later, he even risked his life to save Medhat was what made me decide to finally take his hand. Back then he told me, for you, even death doesn't scare me. But now he says, if I don't act well, how will she fall in love with me? A sharp pain pierced my chest, and in that moment of confusion the car swerved directly into the flower bed. Chapter 5. Luckily, it was in the garden of our house, so no one was hurt. My brother hit his head and got a bruise. He sighed seriously. Before you leave, you'd better not drive again. I lowered my head like a scolded quail. I'm sorry, brother. I'll take it to the repair shop. After leaving the car at the garage, I thought maybe I should buy him a new one to make up for it. Just as I stepped into the hall, I heard Emma's voice. It's fine. I can even do the driving test in heels. She was sitting on the sofa, and Bruno was crouched at her side, holding her ankle carefully as he unbuckled the strap of her shoe as though it were a precious jewel. His tone was firm, full of care. You can't. What if you twist your ankle? What if you hurt yourself? After taking off her heels, he put flat shoes on her feet. I brought these for you before I left the house. Emma murmured in protest, but the smile tugging at her lips couldn't be hidden. Bruno, you really are the best little brother in the world. Bruno froze for a moment, frowning slightly. I smiled silently. He doesn't want to be your little brother. You're so good. Your girlfriend must be very happy with you. Emma leaned on his shoulder to stand up, while Bruno remained crouched, lost in thought. Then he pulled out his phone, and a second later mine rang. It was a message from him. Love, I have a match tomorrow. Come, I have a surprise for you. Chapter 6. When I arrived at the track, the race was about to begin. Bruno had arranged for me to sit beside Emma. On the course, he wore a black biker suit, tall, lean, with defined muscles. He was the most striking of them all. I turned my eyes away, and a hand appeared in front of me. What a coincidence we meet again. I'm Emma, Bruno's sister. I looked at her hand. The tattoo on her wrist was too familiar. Hello, Selena. She smiled faintly, her expression loaded with intent. These days I had investigated her. The adopted daughter of Bruno's family, 2 years older than him. With parents always busy, they grew up together. It was normal that feelings could arise. But she had gone abroad after high school and had only just returned. Bruno was the one who picked her up that day. He had regained the person he had always loved. And I was preparing to start a new life. That's amazing. A shout pulled me out of my thoughts. Bruno crossed the finish line, removed his helmet, pressed 2 fingers to his lips, and blew a kiss into the air. Emma laughed. So childish. As if that kiss was meant for her. Lifting the trophy, Bruno looked in our direction and smiled. I love this summer just as I love her. The crowd erupted, but I froze. Lowering my gaze, I looked at the tattoo on Emma's wrist. Identical to Bruno's. I was there when he got it the day after we started dating. He held my hand, pretending to be afraid. I'm scared of the pain. Will you stay with me? I pointed at the design and asked, what does it mean? It means I'll love you forever, he answered, pulling me into his arms, lowering the collar of his shirt, raising a brow. I'll tattoo it on my collarbone, so whenever you kiss me, you'll always see it. No. I blushed and refused immediately. He laughed. Then on my wrist, okay?
I looked at the design.
It didn't look like English. He hesitated, glanced away. French. France, the country where Emma studied. I pulled out my phone, took a photo from the race, and uploaded the letters into a recognition app. Liar. That phrase in French didn't mean I'll love you forever. It meant, no one like you. I closed my eyes, a coldness spreading through my heart. Then Emma commented, he said he would win the trophy as a gift for my return, and he kept his word. In the locker room, while everyone laughed, I quietly checked the base of the trophy. The words "for Emma only" carved their cut through me like a knife. So this grand declaration was for her. Yet he told me it was a surprise for me. I smiled without a sound and slipped away slowly into the crowd. Chapter 7. There were 3 days left before my departure. Bruno was busy trying to please Emma and barely contacted me. I didn't reach out either. Seeing I had already packed everything, my brother wanted to cheer me up before I left, so he took me with his friends to watch a meteor shower. On the hotel rooftop, there was a telescope where you could see the Milky Way. The moment I stepped onto the terrace, I saw Emma and Bruno. He gently held her waist from behind as they looked at the stars together through the telescope. From behind, my brother called out, "Selena, come play a few rounds with me." At that moment, Bruno suddenly turned around. I didn't look at his expression. I slowly went down the stairs, so calm it even surprised me. My phone kept vibrating. It was surely Bruno, but I ignored it and kept playing cards. Everyone there had watched me grow up and treated me with warmth, chatting and joking with me. My brother returned after a call, and it was my turn to play. One of the elders asked casually, "Is Selena really leaving?" My brother nodded. "Yes, the truth is, I'm going to miss her a lot." As soon as he said that, something shattered outside the door, like a glass breaking. Chapter 8. When I stepped out of the room, Bruno was at the door. Without a word, he took my hand and led me down the stairs into the forest. Only when we were completely alone did he release me. "Are you leaving?" His voice was cold, his face shadowed. "Where do you think you're going?" I didn't want complications before leaving, so I answered evasively. I was accepted into a doctorate program. I'm going to Port City to keep studying. His clenched fist slowly relaxed, relief spreading across his face. I thought that never mind, fine then. I didn't care about his shifting moods. I turned. I'm going to find my brother. But he stopped me, taking my hand again, as we kept walking. We walked through the forest until suddenly a clearing opened up. Lights shaped like stars hung everywhere, twinkling softly. In the center, the lights formed my initials. "I was going to bring you here tomorrow," he said. "Do you like it?" I looked around in silence. Yes, it was romantic. But I knew all this wasn't planned for me from the start. Bruno pulled paper and a pen from his backpack. "It's a time capsule. You can write a wish for the future. We'll bury it here and in 3 or 5 years dig it up to see if it came true." I took the paper and pen, lost in thought. Bruno turned his back and wrote carefully, stroke by stroke. When he turned around, I had already placed my note inside the capsule. So fast. His beautiful almond eyes looked at me with fake tenderness. "What did you write?" "You'll find out in time."
He didn't insist.
He wrapped his arms around my waist and whispered, "Don't you want to know what I wrote?" "What did you write?" He kissed me and smiled.
About you.
About us. I covered my mouth, fighting the urge to vomit. Bruno thought it was emotion. "Have you ever thought about our future?" I shook my head. His expression shifted instantly. Don't you want to be with me forever? I crouched down, and while burying the capsule said indifferently, the future no one can predict it. We've been together 3 years. The relationship is stable. What is there to doubt? Bruno, stop acting like you believe your own lies. After covering the capsule, I pressed the earth down with my foot. Suddenly, he hugged me and pointed to the sky. Look, the meteor shower has started. I lifted my head. Shooting stars crossed the night sky. The stars flickered. The universe was vast and infinite. I thought of a phrase. When the sky grows dark enough, even the smallest stars shine the brightest. Bruno was only a passing shadow. My sky will shine on its own. I smiled faintly, and at that exact moment Bruno pulled out his phone and pressed the shutter. That night, he posted an ambiguous status. Change the perspective. Focus on the love between us. But he didn't attach any photo. Chapter 9. I didn't expect Emma to come find me. She stirred her coffee slowly, and only after a while did she lift her gaze. I know about your relationship with Bruno. I stayed silent, knowing she would continue. The looks, the gestures between a couple, they're obvious at a glance. She paused, then stared directly at me. But he never shows your face in his posts. He never wanted to make it public. Do you know why? Under the table, I clenched my fingers tightly. She smiled calmly. 5 years ago, I told him that maybe he would never learn how to love. He got angry, desperate, and ended up chasing you instead. After 2 years, he was about to give up, but he confessed to you again the very day I told him I had a boyfriend. He did it just to spite me. Then I remembered that New Year's Eve at Victoria Harbor. There were too many people, almost a stampede. Bruno fought through the crowd and dragged me out by force. That same night, a drunk man with a knife banged on my door. I was so scared, I nearly collapsed. And Bruno, he happened to be downstairs at my building. He came up, scared the man off, and hurt his shoulder. While I treated his wound, he comforted me despite the pain. It's all right. Don't cry. In that moment, I heard my heart pounding and accepted his confession. But it turns out everything was just a calculated use of the suspension bridge effect. He struck with precision, taking advantage of my vulnerability. That night, he didn't come to protect. Mayhe was only shattered because he had heard Emma was with someone else. Pulling back the veil, the truth was brutally exposed. Even if I tried to contain myself, the pain throbbed inside me, tearing me apart. He was with you those 3 years only to force me to break and give in, Emma said calmly. Selena, if we keep talking, you'll only humiliate yourself more. She sipped her coffee and smiled with confidence. We're intelligent women. You should know who is most important to Bruno. Instead of waiting for him to leave you, step back first with some dignity. My palm clenched tight, the pain spreading through my chest. It felt like something hammering my heart until it shattered into 1,000 pieces. I held back the tears, forcing a smile. If you were truly that sure about Bruno, you wouldn't have come to see me. You think he belongs to you, but he's slipping through your fingers. You pushed him away bit by bit, and now you can't bear being just the adopted daughter. Emma, greedy people always end up with nothing. Chapter 10. Her hand trembled and coffee spilled. Are you all right? Bruno rushed to her side. He didn't even look at me, just lowered his head to check her hand. Did you burn yourself, sister? I swallowed my emotions and stood up. Bruno instinctively grabbed my sleeve as if to stop me, but remembering we were strangers, he quickly let go. Emma soothed him gently. What's the rush? I'm not a child, you know. Maybe Bruno's concern was exactly what gave her courage. I had only taken a few steps when Emma suddenly called after me. Selena, we'll talk another time. At the very moment Bruno glanced sideways at me, she shot me a smile dripping with mockery. Leaving the cafe, I rushed into the bathroom. My stomach churned, nausea unbearable. I dry heaved for a long time, managing only to shed reflexive tears. Leaning against the door, I tried to piece together the fragments of a heart already shattered. When I came out, Bruno was still there. He handed me a ginger tea with brown sugar. His tone was reproachful. Iced coffee again? You'll see when your stomach starts to hurt. After buckling my seatbelt, he pinched my cheek. What did you two talk about? Why that face? I stared at him intently. If you love Emma, why did you entangle me? You wove a net of sweetness, step by step, trapping me completely. You let me lose myself in your tenderness, in your soft words, only to wait for the right moment and drag me under. And you had one enjoyed watching me struggle, watching me break. But what did I do wrong? It felt like an army of ants biting inside me, anxiety gnawing at me, growing like a snowball. Until I finally exploded. I twisted my body and dug my fingers into his neck, desperate to strangle him. If you die, you can't lie anymore.
He didn't resist.
He looked at me with bloodshot eyes, as if he would rather die in my hands than see me suffer. Until the veins on his forehead bulged, until Emma's scent clinging to him hit my nose. I woke up with a jolt and let go. The next second, he pulled me into a tight embrace, his trembling voice asking, "Do you feel better?" "What happened, Selena?" He held my face, gently wiping away the tears I hadn't even realized were falling. "Don't cry. It hurts to see you like this." Slowly, I stopped crying and turned my face aside. "Bruno, let's not make our relationship public." His expression froze. Panic filled his face. "Why?" "Because I'm going to break up with you. Selena, I love you. I want to present you to the world." In a rush, he added, "On my birthday we'll make it official, all right? Just wait for me. Wait, so you can turn my brother and me into a laughingstock? I'm sorry for making you endure this all these years. Selena, believe me. I love you. But that Bruno who claims to love me, how could he trample my feelings like this?" That night when I returned home, I received a message from Emma. "That he loves you? Did you really believe it? If I want him, he'll always be mine." Attached was a photo of the two of them lying in the same bed. Chapter 11. The day before leaving, Bruno went over the schedule of his birthday party with me several times. You don't know how happy I am. But he was about to be disappointed, because tomorrow I wouldn't show up at all. He didn't notice my distraction and intertwined his fingers with mine. "Darling, I've been thinking about our future." I hadn't. He lowered his gaze. "I started thinking about it 5 years ago, when I began chasing you." So in truth, all of this had been a revenge plotted long in advance. "You were so cold back then, no matter how hard I tried, you weren't moved." His voice was hoarse, as if remembering the past. "There were so many men chasing you, sometimes I was afraid you'd accept another, and I'd lose my chance. Luckily, you chose me."
"Thank you for choosing me."
"Selena, I dream of marrying you." "Bruno, you sunk so deep into your role that even you believed it." For dinner, he insisted on cooking himself. While he was in the kitchen, I unlocked my phone and began organizing all the evidence I'd collected. Voice recordings, photos, everything. From the kitchen he called, "Selena, come taste this." He held a spoon, his face full of eager expectation. Before I could get up, his phone rang. He rushed out without his apron, speaking anxiously. "My sister had a car accident. I have to go see her." Before leaving, he caressed my face once more. "Will you be all right dining alone?" "Yes, I can." He leaned down, kissed my forehead, his eyes full of tenderness. "Darling, you're so obedient tonight. Of course I had to be. Otherwise, how could I get him to leave, so I could erase every trace of myself?" After he left, I called a cleaning service to clear away everything that belonged to me. They were so meticulous they didn't even leave a single strand of hair. I felt such relief. But Emma sent a message. She just scraped her hand a little, and he's desperate. Was he like that with you too? In the video, Bruno was applying ointment to her hand with the utmost care, even blowing gently so it wouldn't sting. I smiled. At this rate, that wound would heal in no time. Chapter 12. Returning from Bruno's place, I packed up every gift he had ever given me and sent them by courier to the venue of his birthday party. He would receive them tomorrow. We would take a private flight at dawn. At exactly 10, Bruno called me drunk. "Selena, I want to see you so badly." I handed my luggage to my brother. "Take this first. I'll catch up later, I have something to do." "What is it?" "Nothing important, but I need to." Bruno was sprawled on the sofa. In the dim light, his lashes trembled. As soon as I approached, he wrapped his arms around my waist, rubbing against me like a clingy puppy, mumbling, "Baby, wife," whispering things about tomorrow's surprise, about how much he loved me, about wanting to marry me. He was drunk, yet still performing. I pulled away. Inside, I felt nothing. When he finally went still, I took his phone and unlocked it with his fingerprint. Opening the photo gallery, I froze. There were over 1,000 photos. Half of them were of Emma. Especially during the 2 years he was pursuing me, he was also pouring his devotion into her. He took her to see autumn leaves, sunsets, romantic streets in France. Thousands of candid shots of her from behind. Even the gifts I thought he had chosen so carefully were things Emma had rejected, and he passed them to me. I thought I would rage, cry, break apart. But surprisingly, I felt calm. I looked through each photo and recorded the screen. Then I found the only 3 photos we had together. The first, when I accepted to be his girlfriend. A selfie with his face pressed against mine. He said his dream had finally come true. The second, my first birthday with him. I was making a wish over the cake. That night near midnight, he whistled from outside. I opened the window and saw him down there, that mischievous smile on his face. We ran through the summer night. That was my first birthday wish. The third, the night of the meteor shower. Beneath the stars, he hugged me and took the photo, saying, "With the person I love most." Without hesitation, I deleted them. Then I emptied the trash folder. I opened his messaging app. Emma was pinned. I was muted. Without expression, I deleted the entire chat. Now his phone was clean, as if I had never existed. And now I finally understood the beauty of a secret relationship. Even the breakup could vanish without leaving a trace. Chapter 13. Just before locking the screen, on impulse I opened his notes app. It was filled with details about Emma's preferences. 3 years ago, he wrote, "Being your little brother isn't enough for me, Emma. Why won't you look at me even once? If you're so cruel, then I'll be with someone else." True love. Selfless devotion? I was nothing but his second choice. Just a prop in his sentimental drama. I took a photo of the note and left the phone beside him. As I stood up, Bruno grabbed my wrist. "Selena, don't go." He was talking in his sleep. I pulled my hand away. "Goodbye, Bruno. Forever." He murmured, "Selena, will you marry me?" And suddenly, I remembered our 3rd year together that I hid from my brother that I had traveled with Bruno to Port City. Fireworks exploded over Victoria Bay. He held me close and whispered, "Selena, I'm so crazy about you." We were young, and the love was deep. I told him, "Bruno, swear you'll never lie to me. If you do, I'll leave." He cupped my face and replied, "I'm too busy loving you to ever lie to you." What a great actor. Before leaving, I took one last look at his house. Once I was sure nothing of mine remained, I closed the door and erased all his contacts. Chapter 14. When the plane took off, it felt like all my emotions dissolved with the roar of the engines. Love, hate, just brief chapters of life. And that was all right. Everyone loves the wrong person once, cries without reason, breaks without warning. But none of that stops you from watching a sunset or feeling the breeze on your face. Ending a failed relationship is a necessary lesson on the path of growth. Everything passes. Just another experience to add. I smiled with relief and turned to my brother. "Before the engagement, I want to see Ethan alone. My parents had proposed it years ago, but I was focused on my studies and trapped by Bruno. 5 years ago, when I came to study in Port City, Ethan's family offered to take care of me. I politely refused. I wanted to learn to be independent. The last time I saw Ethan, I was 15. His family had returned to honor their ancestors, and we spent a summer together. After that, we lost contact. My brother reassured me that with Ethan's character, he would never let me suffer. But if I accepted the engagement, the least I could do was tell him about my past. I told him I had healed, that my wounds were closed, that I had swept away everything that no longer mattered. I was ready to be loyal. And if he didn't agree, it was fine, nothing was signed yet. When I finished, Ethan furrowed his brow slightly, then looked at me and smiled. "We're 27. Having loved before is completely normal." Then he added, "Selena, in my family, there has never been divorce. If the husband cheats or flirts, the wife can take all his assets." "What?" He smiled faintly. "So, if you accept to marry me, you can't regret it." My fingers curled, and I looked him in the eyes. "And if you fall in love with someone else after we marry?" Ethan's voice was soft but firm. Selena, there is no such what if. Until I grow old and die, I'll only love you. I blushed. He smiled, stood up, and held out his hand. Then let's get to know each other again, Miss Selena. Chapter 15. Selena's phone still wasn't answering. Bruno's face was tense, his brows furrowed deep. He took a hard drag of his cigarette and stared at the birthday party he had prepared so carefully. He had commissioned a portrait of Selena's profile and placed it in the most visible spot. She would see it the moment she walked in. Besides that, there were countless other details he had planned meticulously to make the evening feel special. Inside, everything was noisy and lively, but the one person he wanted to see wasn't there. In fact, since waking up, he had had a bad feeling. Every year, Selena always sent him a message just after midnight, or found a way to sneak out and see him, even for a moment. She would smile with squinted eyes. It's my boyfriend's birthday, of course I have to be the first to congratulate him. But last night Selena hadn't stayed with him, and by dawn there was still no message. Bruno opened his phone to look for her contact, but a flood of congratulatory messages distracted him. His mind went blank. He tried to calm himself. Maybe she was already on her way. Time passed. Selena never came. Anxiety ate at him little by little, and he loosened his tie. Suddenly, he heard noise outside. He rushed out, hoping to take her hand. But it was Emma. You. He couldn't hide his disappointment. Emma's smile froze, but with a spark of stubbornness she asked, "Then who were you waiting for?" "For Selena. Only for Selena." Chapter 16. Lately Bruno had felt Selena was different. Before, every time they met, she couldn't help but cling to him. They say physical closeness comes from real desire. When you truly like someone, you just want to be near them all the time. But since Emma's return, Selena had changed. She grew quiet, distant. She no longer sought his presence. Sometimes when Bruno looked at her, he felt there was a vast distance between them, as if they no longer belonged to the same world. What had happened? He couldn't understand. But one thing was clear. He truly wanted to make their relationship public. He remembered the time Selena cried heartbroken in his arms. His heart twisted with pain. He realized he didn't want her to suffer another second. Many times he had nightmares of humiliating her at his birthday party. In the dream, she stood there, confused, until she completely broke, crying bitterly, biting her lips to ask why he did that to her, what she had done wrong. He gasped for breath, trying to explain, but she only looked at him coldly and said, "Bruno, we're over.
You disgust me."
Then he would wake drenched in sweat. Today, he truly planned to propose. He even had the dress ready. A team of designers had worked tirelessly for 6 months to finish it. He laughed bitterly. If he had really wanted to humiliate her, why would he have gone to such lengths to prepare a surprise meant to make her happy? Last night, after taking Emma to the hospital, he left right away. Selena was waiting for him at home. Emma stopped him. "Do you like Selena?" He raised an eyebrow slightly. Emma stood up. "Are you going to deny it? It's obvious."
He laughed.
So it could be seen that he loved her. Then would Selena's brother notice too? Maybe he wouldn't oppose their relationship anymore. He said, "Yes, I love her." Emma pressed her lips together. "Really?" Bruno smiled, then, as if remembering something, said, "Sister, I'm sorry for before. I didn't know if what I felt for you was family love or romantic love. But thank you for rejecting me, because that way I found the person I truly love." And with that, he answered a friend's call and left. He didn't notice the rage and sorrow on Emma's face. He didn't want to play anymore. To hell with revenge. To hell with humiliation. He only wanted to be with Selena. He wanted to propose, to marry her, to make her his. Luckily, it wasn't too late. Luckily, Selena knew nothing of his dirty plans or his darkest thoughts. And no one else would ever mention them. He finally understood his own heart. He loved Selena, even if in the beginning everything had started as a childish act of revenge. But in these 3 years he had truly fallen for her. He was determined to give her the happiest future to make up for such an unworthy beginning. Then, he couldn't help but open their chat. But what he discovered was that the entire message history had disappeared. Anxiety consumed him. Bruno panicked. He sent her a message. "Baby." And then he saw a large red exclamation mark. Selena had deleted him. Chapter 17. While I erased Bruno, I was also preparing my wedding. In truth, Ethan and I should have gotten engaged first and then slowly developed our feelings, but our families had taken our birth dates to a master to calculate compatibility. He said we were a destined couple soulmates across 3 lifetimes. He showered us with blessings and then chose an auspicious date, urging us to marry as soon as possible. I was thrown into the process like a duck pushed into water, trying on dozens of wedding dresses in a single day. Strangely, every single one fit perfectly. I didn't know which to choose. Ethan laughed. Then let's keep them all right? They're all made for you anyway. Huh. Just then the wedding planner entered accompanied by an attendant, and the topic shifted. After reviewing countless proposals and finally being able to breathe, it was already afternoon. Ethan lifted me from the sofa. Love, sleep later. Let's register our marriage first. So soon? He held my hand firmly. The master said so. The marriage registration process in Hong Kong was a little different from the mainland. With a lawyer present, we exchanged vows and rings. Ethan had long since prepared the rings. They fit perfectly. We signed the certificate, and 2 of his friends signed as witnesses. The seal pressed hard onto the paper, and everyone began to applaud. Both our families crowded together for a group photo. The sense of ceremony was overwhelming. This was what it felt like to have a relationship everyone blessed you smiled without fear. This was what it felt like to walk under the sun with your partner, no need to hide. That night, I posted on Moments. Official license obtained. Comments poured in immediately. Sister, did you get another certificate again? Which one this time? Are you blind? This is a marriage certificate, wishing them eternal love. And it's from Hong Kong? Selena, you married so far away? No, I can't take this. How can my goddess get married? Who's the groom? I asked my mom. She said the details are under wraps, but the invitation has arrived. It's next month. The marriage certificate quickly spread into Bruno's circle. A friend of his opened the photo and teased. So that's why you disappeared. You went to Hong Kong with Selena to get married. Huh? Pretty romantic. Bruno's hand trembled as he smoked, the ember burning his finger, yet he felt no pain. What did you say? He snatched the phone, eyes locked on the screen. His knuckles turned white from gripping too hard. His friend understood instantly. Wait, Selena wasn't supposed to marry you? He didn't even finish before Bruno stormed out, completely shaken. Chapter 18. I was nervous too. That night Ethan's family organized a banquet. He held my hand and introduced me to every relative one by one. You know how it is when you're a child. The scariest thing is your parents dragging you around saying, "Do you know what to call them?" I was utterly lost, so I clung tightly to Ethan. Everyone in his family was very kind. Each time I greeted someone, they gave me a welcome gift. But there were too many people. In the end, Ethan wrapped his arm around my waist, letting me lean against him. He practically supported me the whole time, just to get me through the introductions. Seeing all those smiling faces, I thought maybe this wasn't so bad. Mutual respect, courtesy. Isn't that what marriage is? After passion fades, what remains is steady companionship. Both families gave their blessing. Ethan wouldn't deceive me, wouldn't hurt me, wouldn't let me suffer. And I could continue my studies and research. At the end of the event, I collapsed on the sofa, barely able to keep my eyes open. Ethan even pulled out the dowry list for me to check. As I glanced at it, the letters blurred before my eyes. I fell asleep without realizing. So when Bruno called, it was Ethan who answered in my place. Chapter 19. When Bruno heard that warm and calm male voice on the other end of the line, his mind went blank. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, hands trembling.
Who are you?
Where's Selena? Let her answer me. Ethan was not as gentle as he appeared. He had an overwhelming need for control. But not to scare Selena, not to raise her doubts, not to risk her backing out of the marriage. He pretended it was only a family alliance. He had been waiting for years, and he didn't want to wait any longer. That was why he wanted to marry Quickleto, leave no room for anyone else. He never told Selena that he had seen Bruno more than once. When he learned she was studying in Hong Kong, he could barely sleep. He would finish his work in New York and then rush back, but he always arrived late. He went to her university with gifts, only to see her walking beside another man, laughing and chatting. He clenched his fists but in the end said nothing, didn't even approach. Many times afterward, he went to see her, but that man was always there. And she looked at him with a bright light in her eyes. Ethan even flew to the northern city, hiding in the shadows just to watch her. They were never apart. They seemed so in love. So Ethan smiled bitterly and left. Silently, he wished her happiness. He never imagined that useless man would let go of her hand. Now, Ethan secretly felt fortunate. Fate had twisted and turned and brought back the woman he loved. So, with the softest voice he could muster, he spoke the words that would tear Bruno apart. Selena is asleep in my arms. Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I'm her legal husband. And you, who are you? I'm her boyfriend, Bruno answered without hesitation. He never accepted the breakup. To him, Selena was still his. Ethan laughed softly. I'm sorry, but as far as I know, Selena doesn't have a boyfriend, only a husband. Chapter 20. Bruno felt like he was going insane. On the night of his birthday, he stayed behind after everyone had left. Then came the package Selena had sent him. Several large boxes all filled with the gifts he had once given her. She didn't want them anymore. He dialed her number over and over but never got through, not until dawn. Sitting on the floor, drained of all strength, he finally understood Selena didn't want him either.
But why?
He couldn't grasp it. Carrying the boxes back home, a slip of paper fell out. Only a few words were written. Bruno, we're finished. It wasn't a conversation. It was a verdict. Staggering back, he realized Selena had erased every trace of his existence from her life. How cruel. That sweet, adorable girl, why had she been so ruthless? Then he remembered something. He grabbed his phone and opened the gallery. The first image was of Emma. He scrolled to the end and understood Selena had deleted every photo of the two of them. She had seen the pictures he kept of Emma. She had seen his notes. So she had misunderstood his relationship with Emma. Bruno remembered what Selena had once told him. If one day I find out you lied to me, I'll disappear completely. Now he understood. She knew everything. And she kept her word, vanishing without giving him a single chance to explain. It was a death sentence for their love. Bruno searched for her desperately. He scoured all of North City, but no one knew where she had gone. He went to her building and whistled the way he always did. No answer. He waited until sunrise, but that light in the window hadn't shone for a very long time. He even went to Port City. Still, he found nothing. More than a month passed. No trace. Then he remembered the time capsule they had buried in the mountains. Ignoring the pouring rain, he dug with his bare hands in the mud until he unearthed it. He opened his note. May there never be years of regret. May deep love last until old age. Bruno loves Selena forever and always. And Selena's?
Blank.
She had never imagined a future with him. Bruno could hardly believe his eyes. He crushed the paper in his fist, tears streaming down his face. Without Selena, his days had no direction. When he heard she was going to marry, it felt like a knife twisting in his chest. The pain was so sharp he could barely stand, especially when he realized another man had answered her phone. It was as if his heart had fallen from the sky and shattered into pieces. He couldn't accept that Selena was really getting married. Surely it was only because she was still angry at him, right? So, he booked a flight to Port City immediately. It wasn't such a big city. If you really wanted to find someone, you could. But it wasn't small either. If someone wanted to avoid you, you wouldn't even find a single strand of their hair. Chapter 21. Bruno really couldn't find me. Ethan, afraid I might get tired, hadn't let me go out even once. He even deleted the record of that phone call, so I knew nothing. During all the wedding preparations, Ethan took care of everything. 15 days passed. Only 3 remained until the ceremony. Ethan's family used their private jet to bring all my closest friends. He didn't stop for even a second, making sure everything was perfect for each of them. That night I told him to go ahead, that I wanted to chat with the girls alone. He simply answered, and soon after had the staff bring us all kinds of food and drinks. Each friend received a personalized gift. For me, he sent a delicately packaged dinner box. On my phone, his message read, "Have some warm bird's nest soup. Don't let your stomach get cold." Everything he did was always like that, thoughtful, at just the right moment without being overbearing. My friends couldn't stop praising him. Knowing the groom is Ethan, We can relax. Just that time on the plane told us everything. Good guy, solid family, young, with a future, and the best part, impeccable. His family's motto is, a man who treats his wife well prospers. So Selena is set for life. Honestly, I'm excited about this idea of marrying first and falling in love later. You're wrong there, friend. Did you see the way Ethan looks at her? And how secretive he kept the whole wedding. To me, it seems he's planned this for a long time. Between laughter and gossip, midnight came before we realized. When I stepped out of my friend's room, I saw another message from Ethan. It said he had been waiting downstairs the whole time, and to let him know when I finished so he could take me home. I had just replied, I'm done, when suddenly a hand yanked me toward the staircase. It was Bruno. Chapter 22. I never thought I would find him here. It felt like seeing a plague. I instinctively pulled my hand away and ran toward the door. But he grabbed me so hard I couldn't break free. He pinned me against the door, gripping my arm tightly, his eyes filled with conflicting emotions. Then, without a word, he seized my chin and kissed me. I smashed the dinner box against him. Are you insane? My back went cold against the wall. Bruno's eyes fell on the wedding ring on my finger. He clenched his teeth, his voice hoarse. Selena, is this to take revenge? To punish me for not making our relationship public? You went and forged a marriage certificate? How shameless. I sneered. I'm really married. He shut his eyes, struggling for control. I don't believe it. I can explain everything about Emma. It's not what you think. I already told her we'll only ever be like siblings. Come back to North City with me. Let's make it public, all right? So in his mind, it was all about jealousy. About Emma. I smiled sarcastically. When you were with me, you were thinking of Emma. Now that I've left, you come chasing after me. Bruno, what you have is pure masochism. You only want what you can't have. His eyes shattered, trembling. I love you. Only you. Selena, I never said we were over. So you're still my girlfriend. I replied coldly. You wanted to break up?
Perfect.
I'll say it to your face. Bruno, you disgust me. We're finished. Is that clear now? Chapter 23. Dreams and reality blurred together. Bruno's eyes instantly turned red, his face pale. We're not finished. We were together for 3 years. You loved me so much. How could you leave me like this? I didn't want to argue. I kept walking. Think what you want. I'm already married. Bruno hugged me from behind, his broken voice pleading. Take off the ring, all right? I'll buy you a new one. I already have the wedding dress prepared. Let's go back and get married, please. I turned and slapped him. Don't touch me. He stood frozen, disoriented, his eyes red, on the verge of tears. I can't help it. Selena, I miss you so much. These past 2 months I haven't been able to eat or sleep. I close my eyes and all I see is you. Without you, what am I supposed to do? Just as he reached out again to hold me, the hallway door burst open. A gust of wind and Ethan's fist struck Bruno square in the face. Bruno reacted with another punch, but he was no match for Ethan. It was the first time I had ever seen Ethan so imposing, so different from the gentle image I had of him. Bruno's mouth bled, his face a mess. When he staggered up to fight again, I stepped between them. Enough, Bruno. His fist stopped just 5 centimeters from my face. Quickly, I turned to Ethan. Does it hurt? He nodded, his expression like a sad child's. A little. I think I've got internal damage. Then let's go home and see a doctor. Bruno stared at me in disbelief, his eyes red as blood. You're defending him? I'm the one bleeding, Selena. Are you really going to leave me like this? I replied sarcastically. He's my husband. Of course I'll defend him. And you?
What are you to me?
Ethan picked up the dinner box from my hands and then gently took my hand. Did you finish eating? I nodded. He spoke softly. Then let's go home. All right. He added under his breath. My whole body hurts. I pulled him toward the exit. Let's go quickly. I opened the door, without looking back at Bruno. He stood there, utterly broken. The dim light in the hallway hit his face as he muttered so softly, it was almost inaudible. Weren't you the one who cared about me the most? Chapter 24. 2 days before the wedding. Ethan and I were rehearsing the ceremony. That night, after our friends left, we took a walk by the river. He went to buy me a hot drink. As soon as he stepped away, I turned and saw Bruno again. Bandages covered his forehead and the corner of his lips. He looked disheveled, defeated. Clearly, Ethan hadn't held back.
He struggled toward me.
Selena, I've thought it through. Divorce him. Please divorce him. I don't care, I won't judge you. Let's pretend none of this ever happened.
Forget Hong Kong.
Let's start over. I felt like I had just heard the most ridiculous joke in the world. Unless I die, I will never divorce him. It was as if he didn't hear me. His tone turned desperate. Nothing ever happened between Emma and me. Why can't you trust me? Selena, we've known each other for 5 years.
And Ethan?
How long has it been? 2 months? Do you really think it's worth betting your life on someone you've known for just 2 months? Why him and not me? I cut him off. Because he doesn't lie to me. Between us everything is clear. Everything is spoken. No deceptions. No games. No drama about adopted sisters or ridiculous excuses. Just the support of our families and sincere blessings. Even if I don't yet have deep love for him, so what? Life is long. Who can say what will come? Bruno, I told you before, if I ever discovered you had lied to me, I would leave without hesitation. Stop looking for me. I won't come back. He stood there stunned, his eyes filled with despair. Then I saw Ethan approaching quickly. I ran to him. He gently brushed the hair behind my ear and wrapped his arm around me as we headed to the car. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Bruno, his bangs covering his eyes, his eyelids faintly red. Chapter 25. The day before the wedding, Ethan didn't let me leave the house. We stayed in the study, looking through albums of his childhood photos. I pointed at one in surprise. So small, and already there's a photo with you? He stood behind me protectively.
Yes.
That year your mother was pregnant. My mom brought the whole family to visit. I was 3 years old. The day we arrived, you were born. They took some photos. They even talked about betrothing us as children. So soon. I laughed, half incredulous, half amused. I was just a baby. Ethan smiled and turned another page. I came back before primary school. I was 6. You were so tiny, like a little white bun. You grabbed my hand and called me brother. In the photo, I was kissing your cheek. The camera captured the exact moment. My face grew warm. When you were 12, you wanted to act, and you made me play the emperor while you were the princess. I couldn't help laughing. First brother, then father. Ethan, you've had too many roles. He kept flipping through, teasing. When I was 18, I came back once. You were 15. You didn't ask me to act anymore. You wanted me to take you to play video games. Then, I became your accomplice. I grew a little embarrassed. I was obsessed with games. My parents didn't allow it, and my brother wouldn't take me. I had no choice but to ask you. That summer I dragged you to the internet cafe for a whole month. After that we didn't see each other again. I was busy with my studies, and you with your family business. I thought life would keep us on opposite shores, but fate brought us together again. Now we're family. How strange. Suddenly I remembered what Bruno said last night. How could I marry Ethan after only 2 months? But it wasn't 2 months. We had known each other for 27 years, more than all I had lived with Bruno. I turned slightly and felt Ethan's breath against my ear. The air grew warm and heavy with something intimate. I swallowed and turned back. Then Ethan whispered, Selena, thank you. For what? His eyes were full of tenderness. Thank you for marrying me. Chapter 26. On the wedding day, I was so nervous my palms sweated. Ethan held my hand the entire time, guiding me through every step of the ceremony. Under the blessing of the priest, we kissed and embraced, promising eternal love. After the main ceremony, I was so exhausted I could barely stand. He carried me into a room to rest. Sleep a little, he said softly. I held his hand. Where are you going? He squeezed my fingers. To keep greeting the guests and to remove a small obstacle. I let out an "oh," and drifted to sleep on the sofa. At that very moment the obstacle was trying to force his way into the castle to ruin the wedding. Bruno was being stopped at the gate, begging the security guards, claiming he was the bride's groom. Reporters nearby whispered. Ex-boyfriend?
Buddy, it's over.
The other guy has wealth and fame in Port City. What do you have to offer? How shameful. Wake up. Bruno insisted. I'm not the ex. We never broke up. But when they checked his phone, there wasn't a single photo of him with Selena. The crowd burst into laughter. Hallucinating, bro. You don't even qualify as an ex. What a joke. Bruno staggered, nearly falling to his knees just as he saw Ethan appear with a wide smile. Let me in, Bruno shouted, drawing stairs. Ethan ignored him and asked the staff to hand out wedding sweets. Everyone who received one congratulated the newlyweds. Everyone except Bruno. He clenched his teeth in fury. Ethan, you took advantage of me when I was weak. Ethan glanced at him coldly. You're the one who failed to value what you had. That's why you no longer have a chance. Chapter 27. Our wedding trended on social media for 3 days straight. But on the wedding night nothing happened. We were exhausted. Ethan told me Bruno had come looking for me. I thought for a moment. Since the wedding was sealed, it was time to deal with him. I have 2 million followers as an educational influencer. When Bruno was courting me, I used to share little details. But once we were together and he didn't want to go public, I stopped posting about us. My fans knew there had been someone chasing me for years, but they never knew who. Then I posted the wedding photos. My followers were in shock. They couldn't believe their favorite study blogger was the bride of the viral wedding. After that, I uploaded screenshots of Bruno and Emma's ambiguous chats, suggestive photos, and provocative audios. To avoid legal trouble, I blurred their names and wrote a line. We're not close, please show some respect. The Hong Kong press caught on immediately. Even though I never mentioned Bruno's name, every detail pointed straight to him. Especially his attempt to crash the wedding without a shred of proof. The tabloids exploded. Obsessive rich kid on his knees tries to steal another man's bride. The delusional fool of the century. Bruno ruins Ethan's wedding, and the comments were brutal. What? That creep was Bruno? No way. He chased her for 5 years, then tried to wreck her wedding? Embarrassing. Total clown. Disgusting. Had some twisted thing with his adopted sister and still chased another girl? That poor blogger must have had terrible karma. And Emma isn't innocent either. Seducing your own adopted brother? If I were Bruno's mom, I'd be in the hospital with a heart attack. And sending flirty messages to the girl knowing your brother liked her? Revolting. What would their parents think if they knew their adopted daughter and biological son were involved in incest? Bruno didn't want my brother and me to be mocked, but now the ones people pitted were him and Emma. The shame was all theirs. Public opinion exploded, and even Bruno's family couldn't stop the scandal. I asked Ethan, was it you? He nodded calmly. I couldn't help laughing. You're so dark. He raised a brow with a faint smile. He deserved it. Chapter 28. My brother had only just found out and scolded me. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I would have destroyed him myself. Since it was all over, I told him the full story. He was silent for a while. I thought he would lecture me, but instead he frowned and asked, Emma confessed to me? And he took revenge on me for her? But who is Emma? I burst out laughing. My brother's face was pure confusion. Back then I was handsome. So many girls confessed to me. How would I remember her? Bruno hates me? Do I even know him? So, after all the scheming, it turned out my brother didn't even remember Bruno or Emma. Utterly ridiculous. But then something lit up in his eyes. That bastard dared to hurt my little sister. He won't have peace in North City. He dialed several numbers immediately. Cut all ties with Bruno's family. Strip them of every project we can. Let him learn what it means to have a real enemy. Well then, Bruno had dug his own grave. Chapter 29. Before classes started, I brought Ethan back to North City. I took the chance to organize a gathering with some friends. During the party, I stepped out onto the balcony for air. And there I saw Bruno again. I had heard things hadn't been going well for his family lately. Their stock kept falling. They were desperate. They even annulled Emma's adoption and released a statement saying they would never again allow an ex-adopted daughter into their family. Emma had given everything for nothing. Projects under Bruno's control were rejected by multiple companies due to bad press. Rumor had it he had even been beaten by thugs, his head covered. The day he was attacked, my brother called me about 800 times, whistling and laughing without saying a word. Now, seeing Bruno's pale, exhausted face, I thought, serves you right. But Bruno still approached me, eyes red. I didn't know Emma provoked you.
I'm sorry.
I failed you in that moment. Forgive me. But Selena, nothing ever happened between her and me. Can't I be forgiven? Really? I glanced sideways. Bruno, when you loved her, you got involved with me. And when you were with me, you couldn't let her go. In the end, you lost everything. His lips trembled.
He pointed to his chest.
Now I only love you. Truly. I spoke calmly. If Emma came back today, would you return to her? He shook his head in anguish.
No.
Never. I swear. I smiled faintly. Then you understand how I feel. Just as you would never return to a wrong relationship, neither will I. His tears began to fall. But during those 5 years, I loved you. I was sincere. Why must you take revenge to the point of destroying me completely? I looked at him coldly. Because I heard your conversation. From the very beginning, being with me was a trap. Can a con man truly love? And on top of that, you humiliated me on my birthday. I only gave you back the same. Why does it hurt so much? Bruno froze, then gave a bitter smile. So, this is how it feels to have the one you love humiliate you and take revenge. You care enough to want to hurt me. Selena, does that mean I still have a chance? I showed him my ring. The whole world knows I'm married. I will never divorce. Later, Bruno went searching through all the trash bins, looking for the gift I had thrown away that day. And he found an eternal flower I had made by hand, now wilted and broken. I took it and hurled it into the raging river. Then I left him behind and walked toward Ethan. Flowers grow toward the sun. People move forward. Time turns again and again. And I am ready to live the next sunny day with the one by my side.